back to Streamline Entertainment. It is Marvin speaking. I hope everyone's having a great day. When you get into a video and it's about devil breath, and a few people have some stories to tell about it here in the UK, which is absolutely unbelievable. Let's get straight into this.
Public transport, and men for that matter, because there's a drug out there called scopolamine, which is nicknamed devil's breath, and there's fears that it may have hit the UK. Now, this originated in Colombia, and they were using it to drug tourists, to rob them, or to traffic women. This drug is a powder which is blown into people's faces, and straight away it hits you, you become submissive. It is like a truth serum. So you will do whatever you're told to do, and then once it's worn off, you'll have no recollection. I've heard so many stories now, a few in the UK, where women have been on public transport, and this one woman had a powder blown into her face, but she managed to get away before it took effect. And another woman was asked to lick a stamp, but I don't know whether that was scopolamine, but if it was, then anything could have happened to her. So be careful on public transport. This drug is dangerous. I've heard people putting it in watering it down, putting it in water bottles and spraying that in people's faces. So just be careful.
Wow. Unbelievable. I mean, there were a few videos that myself and Ali were looking into about this, and she also mentioned it to me, and I couldn't believe basically how powerful this stuff is, especially if it's, a lot that is basically blown into your face, or you end up drinking it or something, because someone's put it into a liquid form or something like that. So scopolamine, also known as hyoscine or devil's breath, is a medication used to treat motion sickness and post-operative nausea and vomiting. It is also sometimes used before surgery to decrease the saliva when used by injection. Effects begin after about 20 minutes and last for up to 8 hours. Wow. And it says, basically, how does devil's breath make you feel? This medicine can temporarily increase the size of your pupils and cause blurry vision if it comes into contact with your eyes. It may also cause problems with urination. If any of these reactions occur, call your doctor right away. The medicine may cause drowsiness, dizziness, confusion, interesting stuff, as the lady mentions, or trouble seeing clearly. Wow, this is really, really, really strong stuff. Really strong stuff, people. So we're going to move on to the second part of the video in a second. Zed said, I've heard of devil's breath, but didn't know what it was. Oh my God, what next? It is shocking. My son got this blown into his face on Saturday night, coming out of a club. They then put his phone to his face, got into his phone and stole all his money. West London of London, Mayfair, Saturday night. He went out to see an Oasis gig. Thank God he's okay, but so shocking. This is terrible, people. So it really, really is sort of happening, and people are actually using it over here. So be on alert, especially if you're in big cities or anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Or on the tube, or if someone weird comes up to you or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Because like I said, so many things, weird things are happening at the moment. I'm going to move on to part 2, and it's someone's full story of basically what happened to them when it was technically something was blown into their face, or and it started to take effect from them, but thank God they managed to get away. So we move on to the lady. She's called Debbie Oscar, and she's talking about what happened to her. London devil's breath. At the end of the day, she really was in a bad situation. This is a really terrible experience. Let's get into this.
The weirdest thing that happened to me, and I just need to bring awareness because it's scary. A few weeks ago, I saw a video about something called devil's breath, where they basically, these thieves, these robbers will hypnotize you, and then you willingly give them your money, or you willingly give them your phone, whatever. And they'll basically come in with some sort of drug or something, and they'll make you dizzy. right? And I sent this video to my sister because I was skeptical. I was like, this is clearly fake. And today I'm on the train. This is the first stop, so the train is fairly empty. The previous train had just left a few seconds earlier, so I was one of the first people that got on the train. So I sat down and had the whole carriage to myself. Now, a few minutes later, I noticed somebody walking very slowly, and I look up because I'm thinking, this is walking very slowly. What's going on? And when I look up, I realize that she's staring at my direction. She's wearing sunglasses, a South Asian woman, early 40s. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh, she must be a tourist and she must be getting ready to ask me, like, sorry, am I in the right train? And so I look towards her, and because she's walking very slowly, I'm like, okay, say something. But I'm like, oh, maybe she's just, maybe because of the sunglasses, maybe she's looking elsewhere, and I'm just thinking she's looking at me. So I go back on my phone, and when I tell you, she walks and she stands in front of me. So at this point, I'm like, okay, how can I help you? Because the train is empty. But like, you're clearly getting ready to ask me something.
Strange,
and she's
very
looking
strange.
at me, and I'm like, help. Like, are you going to ask me something? Or are you going to be like, oh, sorry, I'm staring because I love your hair? Whatever. I was expecting something, but nothing ever came. And after a few seconds of like awkward staring, I kind of looked down at my phone, and she's holding this newspaper. And the reason the newspaper is on my mind is because the way she's waving it around is really strange. And the newspaper felt very light. It's almost like 2 pages of a newspaper folded together. And she makes her way very slowly, still maintaining eye contact. She sits down next to me. In my mind, I'm like, blood of Jesus, because this is very strange. I'm pleading the blood of Jesus over my life. I'm a believer. I'm like, blood of Jesus, because what do you want from me? And so I kind of turned to look at her because she sat next to me on an empty train, and she's still like this. I'm like, the blood of Jesus. And again, after a few seconds of like, can I help you? I'm like, oh, maybe it's mental health. You know, I live in London. I've seen my fair share of strange things on the underground. I'm thinking, okay, maybe she's crazy. This is the Elizabeth line, by the way. Like, maybe she's crazy, you know, the blood of Jesus. So I'm on my phone and I'm scrolling, and at this point, the train had moved, right? So I'm scrolling, and all of a sudden, I start feeling dizzy and very high. Like, the room is getting darker and it's spinning. And I've never been high, but the only way I can describe this is, imagine you are like in deep sleep, right? Very deep sleep. And somebody comes to wake you up. And it's that first few seconds of, where am I? Who am I? What's going on? Like that first few seconds of grogginess. That is the only way I can describe what I was feeling. And so I'm thinking, oh my gosh, is it low blood sugar? Like, am I about to faint? This is really strange. What's happening? And as I look around in my confused state, like, what's happening? I remember, like, and I scared myself because I remember the woman is still intently staring. So I kind of jolt myself, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why is she looking at me in this groggy state? And then I immediately remembered the video I had seen a few weeks prior that I had sent to my sister. So in the groggy state, I'm like, oh my gosh, is this what I think it is? I pick up my phone and I leave a very groggy voice note to my sister in Italian. Because this woman is still staring at me next to me, and I'm explaining to her, like, South Asian woman, she sat next to me, she's staring, and she's been staring for the past 3 minutes. And now I'm feeling very dizzy, and I feel like I'm about to faint, just in case I faint. I'm stuttering as I'm saying this. I'm explaining to her. And as I'm explaining, this woman stands up, still maintaining eye contact, and she walks away to another carriage. So, to be honest, the moment she stood up, I felt relief. I was like, oh, thank God. But I'm still feeling dizzy. I'm still feeling like I'm about to faint. And then I remembered in those videos, they normally leave and then somebody else will swoop in and basically lead you to a cash machine or lead you to make.
I think that what they were doing as well is just making sure it worked on her and just see how it was affecting her. Because later on in the video, there were other people that looked, what she said, were from the same country as this woman, which is kind of weird. So this is kind of unorganized crime. So could be multiple people looking at you to see how you react to it. Some people, like this lady here, got the power just basically to try and fight against it, or try to move away from that situation where this dust is at the end of the day. But look how quick it took effect. And obviously that lady telling her about basically her son got robbed of someone doing it. So it's really in London, and like I said, it must be in other places as well.
They make you transfer your money to them. So because I'm paranoid now, I'm thinking she might leave. She might be leaving to bring somebody else to continue the next step of the plan. So I stood up, still groggy, and I'm thinking I'm gonna walk to somewhere else because the train is moving. There's nowhere else to go. So I'm thinking, let me go so that she doesn't meet me in the same place that she saw me earlier.
Yeah.
So I move, but because of the dizziness, I can only make it to the next carriage before I sat to this in the seat because I'm thinking I'm about to fall. So I sat down and I'm thinking, what do I do? Like, I'm gonna leave. As I'm thinking this, I look up, and in this empty train, there's two South Asian people, and they're not sat next to each other. So there's a space in the middle that is free. But to me, I immediately start feeling dread because I'm thinking, in an empty train, what are the odds that South Asian people, and again, they don't look like they know each other, but they're sat separately. But I'm like, what are the odds that you guys are they look like from the same town, and now you're in this empty train? What are the odds? And I'm thinking, if these are the people that are
Organised
watching me?
crime.
Because from where they were sat, they could clearly see where I was sat earlier. I'm thinking, what if these people are waiting for the drugs to take effect before they swoop in and rob me? It was a man and a woman, again, the same age group, right? So I'm thinking, what are the odds now? So as I'm sat there contemplating, what do? I immediately feel this very big sense of dread, like you need to get down now. And in this dizzy state, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get down. But if I get up now, people will know, they'll know, and then maybe that woman who God knows where she is, maybe she's watching me, and she'll know that I get down, and they might follow me. So I wait till I hear the doors beep, and then as soon as the doors beep, I stood up. And when I stood up, the two South Asian people in front of me immediately look at me, and then they look at each other like, what do we do? And that was all I needed to see. I stumbled out of that train, and immediately I stood out. I stumbled out of the train. The doors closed behind me, and I was like, thank God. Still feeling dizzy, I decided to go up for air, and immediately the fresh air hits me. The dizzy feeling.
I think they were thinking how this is going to affect her, but because she'd moved, I reckon they clocked her and thinking, obviously, the devil's breath didn't take big effect on her where they really had control of her. So they must have been watching her to see what kind of state she was actually in. This is awful. It really is bad when you're not technically controlling your own body or your own mind. It's crazy. But like I said,
kind of subsides. Now, I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was Judge. I don't know if it's black magic. I don't know if it's a spell. I don't know if it's hypnotherapy. Whatever it is, it was scary, but it was very real. And so I'm here just to warn you. Like, I don't know if these people are now in London targeting people on public transport. Just be careful, be wary. I know this happens a lot in Colombia. If you've known someone that's gone to Colombia, they'll know one or two people that this has happened to, that they'll basically have a conversation with someone, and before you know it, they've been robbed. They'll look at their account when their sanity comes back, and they'll realize that their savings have been emptied. And I'm thanking God that this didn't happen. I left before they could do anything, because I'm planning a wedding. So my account right now, I'm about to pay vendors. My account would have fed them for a few years, you know? So I'm just thankful that didn't happen to me. But please, if you're watching this, be wary. They are in London. I don't know what they're using. And my mom was like, report it to the police. But I was like, what do I tell them? Like, I don't even know how to describe it in words. So
but
just
still
be wary.
report it.
If you sit next to someone and you start feeling this way, get up and leave. Better to be paranoid and save yourself than to sit down, be skeptical, and get robbed, or God knows what else. You know, they could have done anything to me, God knows what. But just be wary. I'm just making this video as awareness, because what happened to me was very scary, and I still don't have the words to describe exactly what happened.
I think what it is as well, I think this obviously powder form scopolamine is one of them that it tends to take effect straight away, depending on what quantity they put into it. Maybe she got really lucky. I just want to look at some of the comments. People literally law, not the first time I've heard of this being used as a method to rob someone, just in any first world country till now. Wow, the only time I've heard it is used in criminal minds. I mean, it has been around in the UK. I've got a mate that was given this by a friend years ago. London Devil's Breath. Wow, you literally saved my life. go back to that one. We were in Soho Park and South Asian man started waving a newspaper at us in a very weird way, and we ran away. I was feeling super dizzy. Be safe, guys. So it is out there. I'm confused. Why doesn't it affect them too? Well, I don't know. Maybe they know how to put the dust or the powder in a way that it's not affecting them. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, if she could have been covered with mask or some kind of, do you know what I mean? Something to protect her nose. What's the difference between Asians and South Asians in appearance? Well, I think what she was saying is that 3 people on the train tend to look alike or from the same part of South Asia. That's what she was saying. It was a bit of a coincidence. It was weird. I understand what she meant. I think she's just basically putting it down to she thinks that they were all in on it. Be careful, people. Let me know what you think, your comments on it, because it seems like Devil Breath is in London. And like I said, we need to be aware of it. Let me know what you think, people. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Entertainment, and thank you for your full support.